what it do? What's up, your girl G here. Welcome back to my channel. Appreciate you for tuning in. Now, you guys, this video is going to be Love After Lockup. We have another pretty good episode. Here's the truth. I do want to review Real Housewives of New York and Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. But this week I have been on auntie mode, got the kids around. And, for those who have kids, it's kind of hard to get done when they too busy running around, okay? So that's just what the truth is. So I'm hopefully going to be able to catch up after doing Love After Lockup, because this was the most recent thing that came out on Friday. And then hopefully I'll either do a quick little recap, maybe via shorts, little short clips, and because I really need to start doing more shorts. And I might do like quick little recaps, or I will do reviews of both of them. So I'm going to try to catch it because y'all, Real Housewives of New York is brand is over there doing nothing but stirring the pot. And then over there, Miss Britney, I've seen and heard about women like you before, okay? So yeah, I want to get into those. But Love After Lockup, you guys, let's go ahead and get into it. If you're new to your girl's channel, hey, how you doing? Make sure you hit that subscribe button, okay? Make sure you hit that thumbs up as well. And make sure you drop down in the comments and let me know where you stopped by. I'm having a lot of people stop by. I had somebody from Detroit. I had somebody from Arkansas. Hopefully, I'm not talking into thin air and this mic is working. I have two different mic tops. Last time I did the regular phone top, and then this one is like, the little fuzzy stuff. So hopefully maybe that got rid of the static last time. So nonetheless, y'all, let's get into Love After Lockup. So we open up the episode with Teenie and Rob. Y'all know Teenie, in the famous words of Scrappy, put the paws, okay? Put the paws on mama. And I don't want to say it wasn't right. It wasn't right, but it also wasn't wrong. Basically what I'm saying is I understand the frustration. And it is a lot more deep rooted than, oh, I just miss my son. Mama, it's not just I miss my son. It's I miss those funds. That's what that is. And here it is. You're honestly projecting, because after they went to swinging on each other, Rob was like, stop, mama, stop. Mom gets up, she runs off, and Teeny's just like, I'm sick of this. Like, she's always negative, and is. I absolutely agree with that. The mama definitely comes with energy of like, I'm your mama, like this, I'm entitled, and especially with the fact that Rob's ex was always helping, her financially, you can definitely tell she's comfortable with the fact that, oh, not only is Rob gonna take care of me, but whatever white she with at the moment, I might not like her, but I dang sure will take her money. I will take her money, and so the mama just pissed off. She cussing in the elevator. That old gremlin goblin looking heifer, she called her fat. I said, mama, like, you and Teenie is not that far off. And then she was like, oh, that money hungry heifer. I said, oh, she money hungry. Ma'am, if anybody's money hungry, it's you and your family. Rob has literally stated, even after they made it home and everything, that he was financially, helping his mom. That was one of the reasons why Teenie and her fought in the first place, because the money that was supposed to go to Rob's mom, I think he ended up not giving it to her. And she thought Teenie was the reason why, when honestly it was Rob. But here it is, Teenie is saying something very valid. Like, y'all haven't been around this man 16 years. That man been in jail, and I visit at the man every weekend with my kids. In a man time, none of y'all literally said, hey, Teenie, let me join with you. Hey, Teenie, can I catch a ride with you so I can see Rob? And then all of y'all had the nerve to sit there and try to guilt Rob into this, like, oh, we family. And the mom, I know what the mom is thinking, because she literally said, she was like, oh, I feel some type of way because, like, your family back here, but you all taking care of some new family. And she's definitely feeling like, them ain't your kids. Like, how the hell, how you taking care of like somebody else's kids? Like, that's not even your blood. Like, we your blood family. But they might not be his kids, but he sees them as such, and they treat him as dad. Those kids love that man. You could tell the boy is definitely just in love with him as a father figure. And he, from what I see of him, he's very loving to those kids. and I hope it's maintained. But nonetheless, you know, the mama, she gets in the car and skirt, she drives off. And, you know, they basically drive home. Teeny, her heart was racing. The daughter had to talk her down. I felt so bad. She was like, Mom, calm down. She's like, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. So, the mama, she basically drives off, and Rob makes it home. And I felt so sorry for Rob because he's just like, I feel like I'm being pulled in, you know, two different directions. You know, I got my mom and my family on this side. I got Teeny on this side. And constantly, he's like, I really don't know which way to go, but like, this isn't fair. He's, you know, kind of feel like, Teeny, like, why'd you do that? Like, why'd you get in her face? She's like, no, I didn't. I'm like, now, Teeny, you instigated it when you said, what is your problem with me? Like, it, you know, it was an aggressive nature. Let's just put it that way. It was, you had your part in it. We'll just put it that way. But I'm glad she was like, look, Rob, that's your mother. You maintain a relationship with her. But as far as me, as far as moi, I'm done. I'm washing my hands of it. And so Rob, you know, he goes downstairs and he's just like, man, I really just like, he's like, I lay down at night and I just be like, what the hell? Because like, I'm, you know, constantly stressing, and, you know, I constantly got my family text me talking about, oh, don't forget about us. I said, not y'all trying to guilt this man. Oh, don't forget about us. Don't forget about us. Y'all forgot about me. Yeah, I was in prison. I was in one stationary place. Y'all forgot about me. All the years I was locked up and y'all didn't come see me. But now all of a sudden, I'm not supposed to forget about you. And so it's making me feel like the family probably sees, you know, Rob, you know, on TV show, you know, now on TV. And it's thinking like, oh, he on TV, you know, he getting a check. But let's get something, you know, straight. A lot of people think like, oh, because you're on TV, now you making money. It don't work like that. You don't really start getting the money until about 2-3 seasons in. Nonetheless, also as well, you know, Rob explained like, I'm not in jail. I'm not, you know, gambling, because he's like, I made more money in prison. I'm like, how the heck does that happen? And I was like, oh, then he was selling commissary. He was gambling on stuff, so he was making money. Even Teeny, when she tried to take the kids to the water park, because she wanted to just give them a day of relaxation, they went and did like a season pass. And it was like $200. But the thing is, at least they'll be able to go on an unlimited amount of time. So it makes sense, you know, because then it'll be something that they can do every weekend just to like relax. And so she was like, before, you know, it was just $200 that, you know, that would have, you know, been nothing. And then the mama also had the nerve to sit there and say, oh, yeah, bitch, you know, she wouldn't even have nothing if it wasn't for Rob. She couldn't even do it herself. Ma'am, you wouldn't have nothing if it wasn't for Rob. Like, she is projecting. She's mad that the money is going to them and them kids that ain't his instead of her. Like, that's how she's feeling. That's not even your real bloodline. And that's effed up. Like, the way his family's just like feeling like so entitled to this man to be owing him something when y'all didn't even, like that man said, y'all didn't even show up to my welcome home party. I'm calling you, you talking about, oh man, I'm so effed up. The sister, oh, my eyes are swole. Like, really? Y'all are literally out of your mind. And I really do feel bad for Rob. I really do. But I'm gonna keep saying Rob is boots, okay? Fine boots. And so he works for like trucking. He does like trucking logistics or whatever. So yeah, it's a decent amount of money, but it ain't prison money. We'll just put it that way. And so now Teeny understands, you like, you know, this probably does make things a lot more difficult. The mama, of course, is gonna run back to the family talking about, oh, she beat me up. You know they're gonna message Rob. How dare you be with a woman who could lay hands on your mama? I already see how this is gonna go. She is gonna use this. She is gonna definitely try to use it to her favor to like guilt Rob and make the family feel some type of way. But let's go ahead and move on. Next, let's get into who else was on this episode. Let's go ahead and knock out Bianca and Daniel because there honestly wasn't that much with them. Long story short, you know, we pick up where we left off. She mad that this man didn't want to make her some coffee. She's like, oh, you're really not going to make me coffee after everything I've done for you? Excuse me. And he had to remind her, why did you do those things? You did those things because you wanted to do them. Like, don't throw that back in my face. So they get up or whatever, and they're starting to get ready because he has to go meet with his parole officer. And she's in there doing her makeup, whatever. He's like, hurry, babe, like, we gotta go. And she's like, can you like let me do what I'm doing? Like this girl, y'all know I don't mess with Bianca. She is a brat. If I've ever the literal definition of brat, and undeservingly so. Like, girl, you really only got this much stank and this much dip on your chip is because you feel like you got a little bit of money in your bank account. But the way she also talks to him, she's just like, that's dumb. Like, why would you say that? You're dumb. Like, she's just like, she just don't think before she speak. Like, that's literally all it is. So they're getting dressed or whatever, and he was pulling out clothes, and he was like, "Yeah, should I wear this and this?" And she's like, "He was like, yeah, I wouldn't have nothing if it wasn't for you." She was like, "Yeah, I know." And so in the confessional, he was just like, I really want to, try to give her everything, and she was like, "Yeah," because she was like, "Oh, after everything I've done, I just really kind of feel like he owes me." He was like, "Owe you? What do you mean by that?" And she was like, just I've done a lot. And it's just like in his mind, he already knows like he wants to get to work. He wants to get to work. He wants to help with all these things. But you, Bianca, decided to do all that stuff by your goddamn self. So you don't get to throw it right back at him as if like he was requiring you to do those things or anything like that. And so it's like this idea of like, oh, you owe me is bonkers. So they go to a parole officer and she was out there waiting for forever, but he comes out and things are all good. He's going to be allowed to parole there because being at the halfway house would have been really bad for his sobriety. But Daniel, I'm here to tell you another thing. Being with Bianca is going to be bad for your sobriety because not only has she established she ain't giving up the alcohol, okay? She's not giving up the liquor, all right? She also is just that's crazy. So literally your mental state trying to handle a 23-year-old who's selfish, bratty, and don't give a dang about nobody but herself, like that's gonna wear thin. Not to mention it's a thing of like and not to mention it's just kind of a thing of like she's always constantly pushing the I want to have a baby, let's get married. Like she is so like I have baby fever. Ma'am, I just got out of prison today. Like, chill. And so on the way back, they're talking about obviously them hooking up and everything like that. And, she was like, oh, yeah, you me twice. And so she was like, I mean, it was just a oops. And he was like, look, we going to take plan B. We might agree not to use no contraception, but plan B, plan B. All right. And so she keeps trying to think like, oh, I wouldn't be upset like if I had a baby. And he's like, no, like I already got a 13-year-old son that I really need to try to build my relationship with. He wants to help in that regards, like, cause he hasn't, been there for his son at all, financially or, physically. And then not to mention, he's like, I owe the state, I owe restitution, like I owe all these things. Like it would be irresponsible to bring a baby into that. And it's just going in one ear and out the other. And she brings up the fact that she had miscarried, that's sorry to hear, but Bianca is like always constantly seems to be running from life events that happened to her. Okay, so you have the accident, with the drunk driver. Let me go on prison pen pal and find a man who went to jail for drunk driving. Like that, how did that correlate in your mind? Like, what about that made sense? I just want to be with like listen to somebody, talk to somebody who experienced or who understands. Okay, and then now, okay, you had a miscarriage, so it's like I got baby fever. Like it seems like she just constantly is trying to look for things to patch up these holes, and it doesn't really care about how it really affects somebody else's life, anybody else's life, for instance. But he's determined. He's like plan B, plan B. We ain't doing no plan C, plan B, and that's it. And the producers like, oh, like you would want to do that, or you're ready for that. And of course, Bianca's just like, we're ready. She's like, nobody ever really plans for a kid, that sometimes it's okay, like it just happens. No, it ain't just it just happens. Like let's be responsible. And I'm glad that he's being responsible, but I also see in his energy that he doesn't really push, or like you could tell he feels indebted to her for the fact that she does handle a lot of the stuff when it comes to them. So as much as he may want to leave her, his ass is staying because she got the munions and he needs those ducats. All right. So guess who's back, y'all? Melissa and Joey. I think his name is Joey, right? Melissa and Michael, John. Dang, what is that? What is that Negro's name? Melissa? Is it John? It might be John. There's a lot of J's on here. Nonetheless, y'all know Melissa. Remember, she got her nose done. I don't want to say it's bad, but they hog nosed the dog out of her. And the hog nose basically means like because they're so concerned and try to make like the bridge of the nose straight that it literally goes up like this. And you can see in the confessional like how her nose literally just kind of like is up like this, and her head is all the way down. But they go do a polar plunge because that's something that he's always wanted to do. Go do a polar plunge. And they made it halfway. He's like, they made it halfway. He wanted to use it kind of like almost like a ice cap rebirth, a icy baptism, if you will. So, they get out the water and immediately she goes to what most women go to. So, what about my ring? How about my ring? How about us getting married? When are we getting married? And he's another one. I'm glad he's acting with some goddamn common sense. Yes, I would love to marry you. It's gonna happen. You're absolutely the woman that I want to be with. But god dang, like I'm building my credit. I'm trying to save to get you a good ring. Um, I want to be able to provide for our future, not just now. And so she doesn't know that he's already been saving, but I'm glad that he's taking the responsible step. Now, the irony is he's working at a pizza place, and y'all know she can't stand him working at a pizza spot. So for him to go from one pizza spot to another, I know it pisses her off. But this is what you get when you decide to marry a convict. A lot of these women just are so stuck in the fairy tale of like, oh, when you get out, we're gonna do this and that, and we're gonna move in together. And it's like y'all ain't doing because, like he explained it perfectly. It's like, yeah, it's all good, it's all good, and then that background check come back, and then it's like down the drain. And Melissa, you wouldn't sit there and get upset, but I mean, it looks like he hustling. He said he sells nutritional products. He's a trainer. He got two jobs, so at least he ain't bumming it. We'll just put it that way. He actually has some income coming in. But nonetheless, like he wants to get a ring. He's saving up and everything. I think he talked on the phone with his mama. He's got a secret, but he ain't told Melissa yet. He's got a little bit of the money saved up. He's like, because he knows the type of ring that she wants. And so going in the future, we'll see how that plays out. Because I think that's where they ended at. Yeah, I think that's where they ended at. So moving on, y'all, Kerok and Britney, long story short, they gotta stay in a hotel, motel, Holiday Inn, motel, okay? These doors is on the outside. That's the difference between a motel and a hotel. But they go into the motel, they check the beds, make sure ain't no roaches and bed bugs, no spiders to bite them, okay? And Kerok ends up calling their lease officer in Texas to see if they could get their deposit back. I already knew that was going to be a no-go because the way these people try to save their money and scam people out their money is ridiculous these days. So you won't get no security deposit back or first month's rent. And so they have to tell his mom, and Kerok's like, you want to tell her? She's like, I ain't telling her, that's your mama, you tell her. And he knows she's gonna be pissed off because at the end of the day, they're uplifting their life too, and their lease literally ends that day. So it's just kind of like, dang, like we really in a mess, we really in a bind. So the next day they finally tell his mama, and the mama's like, you got to be kidding me, like you a lie and a half. And he's like, I ain't, mama, like they really denied it. He's like, we called so many places, and a lot of times all these places unfortunately don't accept ex-inmates. And that really has to be hard because when you are an ex-inmate trying to really rebuild your life and you constantly got people looking at you like you're this plague, I'm sure it's got to be mentally exhausting. And Brittany's already struggling in an aspect of too, like when she was homeless at one point, and y'all know she went through that unfortunate thing of being assaulted by multiple people, and it's just kind of like, I'm sure it's a trigger for her. So the mama's like, man, you should have told me. We could have figured some shit out. Like, god dang. And he's just like, ma, like, I'm really sorry. I really, like, we gonna work on it. They gonna stay in the hotel for the moment, and we just gonna see how it plays out. So next, to also see how it's gonna play out, Zuri and Troy. So Zuri, y'all know Zuri really wants to act like she ain't wrong for telling Troy last minute about their financial issues. So he get the speed walking shoe. If there was a Olympic game that Troy could do, speed walking would be the first one he should sign up for. That nigga gonna walk, all right? So he bust out the house walking, trying to cool down. He called his homie, from way back in the day, and basically, chats it up with him like, dog, like, I shoot, my wife just told me this information. We 2 months behind rent, not to mention we got the house rent. Like, he's like, the last thing I want to do is be financially struggling. I don't want to do that. And that's fair. And so it's just like, girl, you told him, now that y'all are 2 months behind, like, why would you wait to get more and more behind? Like, he could have helped earlier on. And so he obviously is struggling, because that is what a lot of these dope boy deal with. It's like, dang, shoot, I can sit here and work this minimum wage and get this paycheck after 80 umpteenth hours, or I literally can make the same amount of this paycheck in 20 minutes, and I know that's got to be a hard dilemma facing every day. I be thinking to myself, like, damn, I wish I could be a scammer. Like, I wish I could be a scammer, but the problem is, I like my bed too much. I ain't trying to go to jail. I don't want to take cold showers. Like, I ain't trying to get passed around for my snatch over some little Debbie cakes and some ho-hos and a packet of ramen noodles. Okay, I don't want to be stuck in a cell with a butch queen named Pepper. Shout out to Shantae and True. Speaking of that, y'all know them hoes is engaged? I said, no, Shantae, no, Shantae. But nonetheless, like, I wish I had the capabilities of being a scammer, because the way people out here breaking all types of laws and making money while everybody who's doing it the right way is struggling, it ain't fair. But yeah, so he's just kind of thinking in his mind, like, dang, like, I gotta do it the right way though. I gotta do it by law. And so the friend dropping back off, and Zuri, she's saying like, oh, I have abandonment issues, and just for my husband to just keep walking out on me. If I'm sorry if y'all hear coughing, my niece is in here with me. She's getting ready to fall asleep. But I'm gonna wake her behind up in a second, because she ain't gonna fall asleep now, because she ain't gonna sleep later. So Zuri was killing, because she's like, oh yeah, as my husband, you're supposed to be able to communicate as a leader of the house. Like, it's up for you to communicate. No, let's not try to reverse psychology this, Zuri. He's not upset that you're telling him about this stuff. He's upset because you're just now telling him about the stuff. Like, that's what it is, about the fact that you held it from him. So now, once again, it's a soft spot, because you have cheated on him before. That's, lying and betrayal. Like, and you want to sit there and be like, oh, you're the leader of the house, you got to communicate. Well, you're my wife. You got to communicate with me too back. But they end up kissing and making up. Zuri is a handful, but because Troy's so mild-mannered, I think, like, as they say, like, oh, I need to find the dragon to my donkey. Like they say, like, it's always a soft, mild-mannered man and a woman that's like, like this in your face. And so I feel like, hopefully she don't run his ass off, because Troy looked like he'd be, like the sister said, this sister was like, he just be looking like a sad puppy. I'd be like, dang. She'd be like, dang, you fight back. But yeah, they ended up getting figured out, and, makeup. But Zuri, you ain't right, Zuri. I'm sorry, you ain't right. You told that man last minute and then want to get mad that he's pissed off. He has every right to be pissed off. So who else was there? Is it last but not least Michael and Justine? So Michael and Justine, so they make it back home, and they really gotta have these serious conversations about, like, our will, what's gonna happen with the kids, like, what's gonna happen with our life going forward. And so she's like, you're gonna get the vasectomy. He's like, no, I'm not. Like, no, I'm not. Like, I just feel like it can mess up my manhood. And she was like, I'm having babies. Like, I'm literally got my life on the line, and you can't even, like, do that for me. And I really get pissed off when men use that goddamn excuse of, like, oh, don't take my manhood away. Like, oh, it ain't gonna work right. And it's just like, and then he also like, oh, if God wants me to have kids, And she's like, well, how many kids do you need? Like, man, you got 10 kids. and you can't afford them. Okay, we figured out this episode that you can't afford them, so you ain't having no kids no time soon, sir. Like, let's be real. And for you to sit there and continuously use that excuse of like, nah, like, it's just gonna miss that manhood junk really pisses me off, because women constantly like are always having to take the bigger brunt and take the biggest hits when it comes to stuff. Like, he's like, well, you already gonna be down there, like, let them tie the tubes while they already down there. A woman getting her tubes tied is more of a recovery process than getting his balls snipped. Like, it literally is a 15-minute, situation. He's like, oh, what if something goes wrong? What if I'm the first person that something goes wrong with, And it's always these extremes. They always come with the biggest extremes not to, handle their business. You don't need any more kids. Heck, y'all weren't even supposed to have this kid. The doctors told you to lay off, like, quite literally 2 C-sections ago. That's why y'all are in this situation now, because y'all are being irresponsible. Literally, to find out that not only are y'all struggling financially, Michael's like, dang, because he starts going to work, and, the kids, they're talking about just like, oh, I love this idea of having the kids together, but it's definitely, a lot. 10 kids under one roof is bound to be beef somewhere. And that actually ends up happening. Michael goes to work or whatever. He's like, there's some days where, I just be glad to go to work and get out the house because, it's so much stress or whatever. And that's what a lot of men do. They get to use being out of the house and work as an excuse to not handle the that's going on at home, right? I'm working. No, what you're doing is avoiding. And so in his mind, he also is feeling like, dang, like he said, I almost got dang threw up when I saw my first paycheck. Because he's like, I literally could have made this in 1 hour, back in the day. And that do be the hard part. Like, you look at a paycheck after working 60, 80 hours a week, and you like, damn, like only 1,500, that's all I got? Rent too, rent 2,500, like, and then they got this big old house. Like, I know the rent is high, ain't no less than 3,000 for sure. And then Justine being a stay-at-home mom, like, Justine, you might need to get a stay-at-home job, okay? Because it's a lot. It's a lot for that to be on one man. So come to find out, Justine actually has a son that is high functioning autistic, if I'm not mistaken, she said. And, he can get really riled up emotionally, which a lot of them do. There's lack of emotional control half the time. So they rush home because he's crying and hysterical and stuff. He's like, Michael's like, dang, I hate leaving home, like leaving work early because that's money I'm throwing away. But I gotta rush home because he's crying. So they run up there. Boy broke his phone. He's like, they're like, what's going on? Like, what is it? He's like, I'm tired of getting bullied. He's always saying stuff to me. Then he throws, my phone in the closet talking about, you really a man? You gonna do something? And you know what? That boy is the type of people I hate. The type of people who know their ass is big, and so they use their size to try and bully up on somebody, and they use their size to try to threaten people. For that boy to throw his phone in the closet and be like, do something about it. Do something about it. Come on now, you're antagonizing. And so it went from that to, oh, well, yo daddy's not like my mama, and my mama's like not like your mama. Like, I'm starting to realize, like, maybe because the son is Michael's kid, and then the other son that was behind the bed is Justine's. But of course, Michael's like, I see them all as mine, But I'm sure in that such of Michael's son being the age that he is and not being really around for his dad, or his dad not really being around for him and things like that. And then all of a sudden you're leaving your mom to come all the way to Las Vegas and live in a house with other kids, and you're watching your dad parent these kids. Like, I'm sure there's a lot that's going on in his mind. You could tell that kid got some to say, and that daughter, Mel, being the oldest too, I'm sure obviously like she loves her dad, you could tell, but like being responsible for all them kids is not fair. They call the other ones all the time, like, oh, hold this one, while me and daddy do this, or mommy and daddy, we're going to do this. And it's just kind of like, that's not their responsibility. And y'all keep adding kids into this equation, and it's pissing me off because, like, that don't make no sense. Not only are you putting your life on the line, but financially, y'all are already struggling, which is all the more reason why I look at Michael like, what do you mean you're not getting a vasectomy? like I'm meant to have more kids. She's like, first of all, who's having the kids? If you with me, who's having them? And so the boy done broke the phone. He threw it and was pissed off. And so he's like $1,500 down the drain. And now the boys are just throwing insults at each other about each other's family. And so it's very clear that the tensions are rising in the house. And now Michael, he's ready to blow up. He punches a hole in the goddamn wall and was like, I got to get out of here. Like, I got to get out of here. And so Justine just sitting there looking, shaking her head because, he has so much stress on his back. Not to mention, I'm sure he's really pissed off about himself because, he went from, let me move to Las Vegas because I'm going to get my rapping career off the ground. Well, that rapper career went from off the ground to bitch dead. R.I.P. underground, buried, okay? And I'm sure that hurts him a lot because I know for a lot of people it's like, dang, I got this dream I want to chase, but I got to live in reality of like, I got a whole home for it I got to take care of. And that's something that, another thing in which makes me think like, if you know these are things that you want to pursue, why do you keep having more kids? Not to mention, Justine is literally dang near deathbed. Like, she's literally on her deathbed with these kids. Like, none of it is making sense to me when it comes to them at all. And so he's like, when I see my other friends, like, oh yeah, you used to be trying to rap, trying to be a rapper is a full-time thing, but you can't do that, be a full-time rapper when you got a full-time job. That's not how it works. And so, yeah, like Michael's pissed off and he, leaves and it's just like over it, And so I think that's it. I'm trying to think if there's any couples I missed. Let me think. Kerok, Britney, Michael, Justine, Melissa. I think his name is John. I think. Bianca, Daniel, Teeny, Rob, what his phone is. Is there anybody I'm missing, y'all? Scream it out. Maybe scream through the camera. I might miss it. I'm trying to think. I really do feel like I got everybody. Brittany, Kerok, Michael, Justine, Bianca. Yeah, Bianca's crazy. Talking about I got baby fever, and every time that girl even mentioned the word baby, that Daniel eyes get big. Okay, Rob. Also, don't let that. Do not let your family guilt you. You are holding things down how you're supposed to. That is your family that you have now. And he's like, I don't have it. Like, they keep asking me, and it's just like, I don't have it. Like, I'm not, I'm trying to do this the right way now. And it's like, my mama, she's raised me and all this type of stuff like that. But it's like, oh, I raised you, so now it's time to raise me. The first thing I thought of, Tyler Perry, a family reunion. She was like, I've done my whole life taking care of you. Now it's time for you to take care of me. Yeah, okay. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. And I'm feeling like that's exactly what it is. Mama sees her son, whatever money he do got is going to the kids that ain't his, and she's feeling some type of way. Well, if you want some money, go ask Rob's ex-girlfriend, since you love her so much over Teeny, the one woman who literally has been holding your son down. Like, I really am baffled with Rob's family, the entitlement. And y'all didn't even show up for that man's welcome home and got the nerve to be with y'all's hands out like the goddamn Gross sisters. Man, get the fuck out of here. So yeah, you guys, that was Love After Lockup. I appreciate you for tuning in. Y'all jump down in the comments and let me know what you feel about the episode, feel about each couple. Bianca, Daniel, do y'all feel like they gonna make it? Do you feel like Rob's family is guilting him and the mom feels like Teeny's money hungry, or do you think they're just projecting? When it comes to Justine and Michael, do you feel like it's fair when men be like, oh, I'm not going to get a vasectomy because, like, that's my manhood. What if it don't work right after? Do you feel like a lot of times men are not as open to contraception as women are? Because I definitely do think so. But yeah, you guys, make sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Drop it in the comments, and I will catch y'all later. Deuces.